everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Paint Table. This is my weekly show where you guys get to see what I got done this week, what I painted, upcoming projects, glimpses into the future, or just a terrifying look into my endless queue of painting stuff that has to happen that never stops. So today we'll look at what I got done this week. We got some stuff for Infinity, and then a whole bunch of stuff for Kings of War, and take a look at some of the upcoming projects that are in my painting queue for next week. So without further ado, let's take a look at what I got done. So here's the only really impressive Infinity thing I got done, and it's not very impressive. I got it done for the mini ITS that we ran at the studio, a little invitational that we did last week, and it was my last minute, oh crap, I might need this miniature, and it's my Guerrilla pilot. Like, you can get ejected. I always forget, well, I don't always forget now because I've played with it, but I forget that the Guerrilla is manned because I'm so used to playing with pano tags that are all remote presence that you don't have to worry about getting ejected or your guy thrown out, that you sometimes need a pilot for your tags. So instead of just proxying one, I painted up the Guerrilla pilot, and she's all finished. She's super cool, just got a pistol in her helmet, but just in case I get thrown out of my tag, I have one ready to go. So that was my Infinity thing I got done this week. Let's take a look at what else I got done for Kings of War. Then there's my finished painting stuff for Kings of War this week. The first thing I did actually was I finished all my movement trays, because one of the things in Kings of War that I'm actually becoming really fond of is there's no casualty removal. You play with multi-based infantry. So it's a lot like playing Epic or one of the 6mm or 10mm scale games like Heavy Gear, where infantry is all multi-base, just in 28mm. So I did a bunch of these. They are just balsa with ply sheeting on the outside from, what is it called? Michael's Craft Store, DIY store here in Canada and the US. Cut to the right shape, right dimensions. That's some pine bark there glued onto it, some grit. You can see I used those awesome green stuff rollers from Green Stuff World to make some old cobbles and stuff. And then the plants, all of the plant life stuff is from Gamer's Grass in Spain. Really super cool, nice handmade tufts. You'll see Witches and Wonders on them next week. But yeah, no, so that was the first thing I did, was make all the movement trays, because then I could spec out the army. I had a little guessing game too to see if people could guess what these are going to be for. This is for my third giant right here. She needed some repairs or the blisters, so she didn't get painted at the same time as my other giants. This right here is going to be for my siege masters, or my ogre siege something, siege troops, I can't remember what they're called, siege breakers, that's what it is. And then back here, this last one, it's going to be a unit of red goblin archers, or just red goblins, which they're all archers basically, and they're my chaff unit in the ogre army. Give me a little bit of shooting and some defense for some stuff, and this is what I got done. So I got Grokkamagok, which is Grokkagamok, I think is how you pronounce his name. It's the worst, I never get it right. He's the special living legend for the ogres, and he's effectively another unit of ogres on his own. So he's pretty awesome. He has 9-inch inspiring. The axe, the amputator, is probably the best magic item in the game, because he can literally just one round a unit by himself. And then I've got 3 units of ogres I finished. I finished a horde of ogres with double-handed weapons. I finished a horde of ogres with shields. These will be my 2 primary fighting units to go alongside the siege breakers when I get them done. And then I finished a unit of shooters, and they are possibly the best shooting unit in the game. But you only kind of need one of them, because to make them good, they need a magic item, and you can only give it to 1 unit in the army. So that's probably the only shooting unit I'll take. The other ones I might take are boomers as chaff units, but those will get panned later on. And I've got a army standard bearer. He's kind of mandatory if Grok is off fighting and he can't be near everything. And also he gets either the throwing axe, the hand grenades, for some extra little shots there. And then my first 2 giants. Now, this was my first time ever working with Reaper Bones. And I gotta say, it's not bad. I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel. The cool thing was, cutting and repositioning them was really easy, because the plastic it's made from is super simple, and they're super light. So like, they go really well with the Kings of War stuff, because the Kings of War stuff is all the same kind of like privateer press plastic the Warjacks are made from. And it meant that these were super easy to paint. You'll see in a second how I'm painting the third one, and I wouldn't be able to do that with a metal model for the most part, although I did do that with the Guerrilla last week, but we'll see. But these are 2 fire giants. I think they are the Reaper Bones. I can't remember the sculptor. I know the Queen one is a Werner Clock Mini. I can't remember who sculpted these other 2. There's a 4th one that I really wanted to get, because the thing with the Queen is she's a lot smaller than these 2, and I kind of want to use her as something else. Like if there's an allied monster I could take in, like kind of a Bodicea kind of monster, I'll probably use her for that. But there's a fire giant bodyguard with like a big double-handed sword, and I really wanted to get him, but he wasn't available to my retailer in Canada that carries Reaper Bones stuff, so I'm super bummed, because he was gonna be my 3rd big giant, and then the Bodicea kind of Giant Queen was gonna be something else, but we'll see if I can find it in the future. That'll be a thing to do, and they're like $6, $7, so maybe I'll see one in a gaming store at some point. Now what's cool is this 1500 points, and the reason I wanted to get it all painted is I'm actually playing Kings of War. I'm teaching Chris Souza, who you've seen in some of my Infinity Bat reps, how to play Kings of War tomorrow against his elves, and I really wanted to get a proper all Kings of War minis, or non-fantasy GW minis done for the game, just so I could show them off. And I powered through it this week. So Monday to Friday, I got all these movement trays done. Last weekend, Friday night, when I was taping this, I did the Infinity Mini, and the rest of these all got painted this week. And it's Friday right now in the afternoon. So there we go. There is the current progress. 1,500 points. I got 500 points planned. It's actually not the Siege Breakers, because I need to collect some bits. If anyone has Templar of Menoth, what are they called? Shields and flails kicking around they don't need, let me know, because I just need 3 of each to make. Actually, I only need 2 flails, and I need 3 of the shields to make my Siegebreaker unit. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for right now to finish that off. And I think I might have some somewhere, but I'm trying to scrounge right now. And Owen won't give his up because apparently they're really good in Mark III. So I gotta figure out a way to do that. But it's actually I have 2 just regular regiments of ogres with double-handed weapons that'll finish this off, along with the last giant and the red goblins. And this is just a base for a future project, so I can have some options and stuff. So that'll be my 2,000 points, adding 4 more units, and I'll hopefully get that done in the near future. I got some guests coming up from Chicago midway through June, and I'll be able to play 2,000 points with them. So there's what I got done this week. Let's look at the work in progress pile. So here's a pile of upcoming stuff, some Jing stuff that I almost got painted. I was trying to do my Dragon Lady HVT for the little ITS, but I couldn't get it done. And a second Bushido, or not Bushido, Shaolin Monk. I love the old Shaolin Monks. I don't care what anyone says. The one doing a cartwheel just makes me happy. And you can see here, this is actually a trick I use for airbrushing, as I mount guys on corks, and that's not a trick really, that's pretty common. But I cut holes in boxes to keep them in so they can all stand up and I can transport them. And this is the 3rd giant. You probably can't tell, but I replaced her spear handle with brass rod because they stuffed her in the blister pack and the spear was literally in a circle. Like, there was no saving the shaft of that spear at all. And actually, I think in the actual mini, the spear goes the other direction. I think the spearhead goes out that way and the handle comes out this way. So I've kind of reversed the way the spear goes, but I'm fine with that. It means she's right-handed instead of left-handed from the look of things. And she's just got some base coats on her, but she'll get done soon and get thrown in that base, and then all 3 of my giants are painted. For my first 3 giants, there was a recent development this week of the Clash of Kings tournament pack for Kings of War, and it's limiting duplication of monsters and stuff to 3. So I probably won't paint another. I won't paint another Gigante unless I figure out what I could use her as. That's a big monstery thing that I could maybe ally in or use in a different army. I'm not really sure yet. And then I got finished these 2 little Toha dudes. I got a McCall combi rifle. I know a McCall without a heavy flamethrower. What am I thinking? Well, it'll make sense later. And a McCall like grenade launcher that need to get done for a game I'm playing tomorrow again with Chris. Chris is going to bring in his Ariadna, and we're going to do an ITS showdown for my new show Aristia. If you haven't seen it, it's ITS missions and ITS games. So using the ranking system from Infinity, anyone that wants to come play me can play as a showdown, a one-off game where we actually are ranked for ITS, and I bought a bunch of codes for it. So Chris is going to get to throw down with his Ariadna against my Toha. And you'll see that upcoming in the future once we've run the tournament, the rest of the tournament games for the invitational that we did here. And then finally, I got some Scatter Train by MC Studios. I finished my buildings, so I got these put together, and there's so much of it. This is just, I wanted to get the cool kind of highlights of it done, because what's awesome with the pack is you get a ton of scatter, and like, I can't build that much stuff. I don't have time to build that much stuff, so I did kind of the highlights. These actually fit in once they're painted, but I'm going to do them separately because they're going to be metallic, obviously, and these are going to be stone. And this is for the little park, basically, that you get. You get this, and then you get some park benches and stuff that go near the fountain. This is a ladder to go in one of the buildings, some fire hydrants, and some stop signs, just kind of the highlights. It's going to get airbrushed and painted this week, so I can finally show you guys the witches and wonders on the MC Studios pulp train, which is super cool. So let's look at the upcoming stuff. Of course, there's also bajillions of other projects on the go, but this is just sort of what's pressing in on my mind right now, and that I've been working on recently. So there it is, the highlights and the work in progress stuff for this week. And there is another week, another 20 models in the books, and some movement trays. I guess they can't technically count as models. I gotta admit, I'm having a lot of fun with Kings of War right now, especially getting stuff multi-based and kind of like done right for it so that it looks the way it's supposed to look. And I'm excited to play more of it. This summer is kind of Going to be the summer of 9th Age Kings of War and the new Age of Sigmar point system. So a lot of fantasy stuff on the horizon that I'm pretty keen for. I've also gotten an absolute crap ton of Toha and Yuching painted, which means you'll see them hot and heavy in rotation. We've got the Lords of War weekend next weekend coming up. So if you guys are coming down to that, I hope to see you there. We're gonna have all kinds of cool swag and stuff. And if you miss it, you're missing probably gonna be the coolest gaming weekend in Ontario, in Canada, this summer. So try not to miss it, grab your tickets. We have the Horus Heresy doubles tournament. We have the Age of Sigmar Warhammer World weekend event thing. We have a Guild Ball Sanction tournament. We have an Infinity ITS. We have a Malifaux Gaining Grounds and a Frostgrave campaign weekend. It's gonna be just bananas. We're gonna be doing so much stuff. It's gonna be awesome. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. And we'll check out basically what I get finished next week. Root me on. Hopefully we can get more stuff done. I got always this unending list of things to do. But we'll see what I get done next Saturday. Until then, I'm Ash. Have a good night.